All right, guys. Happy December 23rd, Christmas Eve. We're going to go live soon, and we're going to paint Jer-gnome Jangle, our fun little gnome. I hope that everybody is having a good day. I hope that you are all safe and healthy and happy. And we are going to go have some fun, and we're going to paint this little guy. Hi, everybody. I have my Christmas hat on, so we're going to have some fun. So let me know where you are from, and if you're going to paint along. As always, with all of my Paint Diva lives, I will keep this on my page for a few days afterwards so that you can follow along as well. And if you're joining us for the first time, let me know. If you are faithfuls to the Paint Diva page and have painted before with me, let me know that as well, because I am really excited to paint this little guy. He's a lot of fun, and he is really sweet, and I had a lot of fun creating him. So let me know where you're from. Tonight we're going to be using some brushes. We're going to use a large flat brush. We're going to use a small flat brush, and we're going to use a liner brush. If you don't have those and you want to paint with cotton swabs and sponges and all kinds of things like that, then you are more than welcome to follow along and use those things as well, okay? Because I will give you some other time. All right, Tennessee. Oh, yay. Hi, Ashley. Welcome. And hi, Ritzanne from Philippines. My goodness. Hi, guys. So excited that you're joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So again, we're going to use a big flat brush. If you don't have a big flat brush, a piece of kitchen sponge will work. We're going to use a small flat brush. If you don't have that, you can use cotton swabs. And we're going to use a liner brush. And if you don't have a liner brush, you can also use the cotton swabs, or you can use the edge of a knife, or whatever you've got laying around that will happen. Okay, so I will try and do that. Heather, welcome. Oh, wow. Good for you, living in Beantown. I love Boston. Boston's a beautiful city. Welcome. So I hope everybody is getting into the Christmas spirit as best we can. I know this is kind of a really weird year this year, but hey, we're going to just make it all happen. Ashley from Tennessee, welcome. Oh my goodness, this is great. I'm so excited that you guys are letting me know where you're from. This is fabulous. I love it. So the colors that I've got tonight on my palette are black, white, red, green, yellow, blue, and some flesh tone. But if you don't have flesh tone, you can mix a little bit of red and white, and you can make yourself a nice little pink nose for our little gnome. Okay, so this is our canvas. A couple tips I'm going to give you. So when I say that we want to watch and we want to paint with like a big lasagna stroke, that means we're going to take our brush, we're going to put lots of paint on it, and we're just going to brush up and down in big long strokes. If we want to paint like a piece of spaghetti, we want to have nice little skinny strokes. Okay? So with that, we're just going to paint just with using the end of our brush, and we're just going to paint nice thin lines. Okay, does that make sense with everybody? I hope so. And then the other thing you want to know is that you want to always keep lots of paint on your brush, and you want to load it up. And you don't want to put it in water first, because then all you're going to do is dilute your paint when you're putting it on your canvas. Make sense? Hi, Michelle from Dorchester. This is fabulous. Yay, we've got some great people joining in from all over the place. I'm really excited about that. Okay, so everybody's got their canvas. I'm going to make him disappear. Ta-da! Just like that. He's going to disappear. And then we're going to paint. Okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your liner brush, and if you don't have a liner brush, you're going to use a cotton swab. And you kind of want to figure out where you want your little gnome to live. So I'm just going to take a little bit of blue paint, and I'm actually going to make it look almost like a coloring book. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to kind of want to figure out where my hat's going to live. Okay, so I kind of want my hat, it's going to stop right about there. So I just put a little dot on my canvas. So that's about 1.5 to 2 inches down from the top and about, I don't know, 3 to 4 inches across. And I just made a little dot. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a wobbly triangle. And that's going to go down to about a little more than halfway down my canvas. Okay, so that's all I did. It's just a wobbly triangle, just like that. So that's the first part of that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to make a wobbly little triangle. Just like that. That's all I'm going to do. So once you've got your wobbly little triangle, that's the start of your gnome. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of make a nice little wavy bottom. So we've got our gnome hat. Now with every gnome hat, it kind of tips over to the side, kind of like mine. I got a big long gnome hat on. My Santa hat is on right now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start from the top here. And I'm just going to make the side of my hat kind of blend in and match up with what I got going on. So almost like a carrot, a wobbly carrot over on the side. Does that make sense? I hope that that makes sense, and I hope everybody understands that. So that's all I want you to do. Is just make your little triangle, your wobbly triangle, and then your little carrot kind of dangling off the side. So when you got that done, give me some thumbs up and let me know. And then we'll move on to the next spot. Okay, so just give me a yes or a done or let's go or okay or whatever you've got. If you want to give me a little bit of love or some thumbs up with your emojis, that's good too, because that works like that and I can see those as well. Okay, so this is our wobbly little hat. So it's basically just a wobbly little triangle. And then our wobbly little carrot off to the side. Hi, Christina. Yes, this is going to be recorded. I'm doing this live, and then when this live is done, I'll keep it posted on my Facebook page for a few days. Once I move it from my Facebook page, I will move it over to my YouTube channel. Okay, I hope that helps, and I hope that that works for you. Okay, so you guys, I see a few thumbs up. All right, okay. So we're going to stick with that liner brush, and we're going to still stick with the blue. Okay, so now we have to kind of figure out where our mustache is going to live. Now our mustache is really just a stretched out W. Do you remember when we were kids and you used to paint and you made seagulls in the air and it was just like a stretched out V? We're just going to flip that on its head and we're going to make a stretched out W. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start from here, and I'm starting away from my hat. And I'm just going down. And I'm just going up like that. Okay, so see, I've left some space in between my hat, and I've just made a really wide W. Okay. And then what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to connect now. I'm going to connect that to the hat. So see, I've just made that little line, almost like a little grin on its side. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side. And I'm actually going to do a couple over on this side to connect. Okay, I think you can see that. So see, I've just got a couple over here on the edge just to bring those up and make them match. Okay. So you guys let me know when you've got your mustache done, and then we'll move on to the next spot. Just give me some thumbs up, or give me a okay, or give me a yes ma'am, or a got it, or ready to go. You tell me what the next things are that you want to do. Okay, because now we're going to start down here at the bottom. So once you've got your mustache all kind of drawn out, there's a space now between the bottom of our hat and our mustache, and that's what we want, because we're going to fill this all in later. Okay, so you guys just let me know. And then we have to make his beard. And this is really cool because this is, once you've got this part outlined, this is the toughest part you're going to do tonight. I promise. Once you've got your beard all figured out, this is the toughest thing you're going to do. Because he's pretty cute and I really like this little guy. So I'm really excited, and I hope that you guys like him too, because I think he's really adorable. Okay, just take your time. I see a couple. I see, and I'm good. All right. How are we doing? Are we ready to go? Okay. I think we're ready to go. I think we've got a few things. Got an eye good. We got a couple of thumbs up. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out where our beard's going to live. And our beard's going to be pretty wide because, of course, he's a little gnome, right? And he's just a little guy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start down at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start near the bottom of my canvas and work my way up, because I want him to be a nice full beard. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little whoosh, just like that. Just a little whoosh. Okay. And then over here, I'm going to make that pretty wide. So I want it to almost look like a piece of pie, just a wonky piece of pie or a shark fin, upside down shark fin. Okay, so that's all I want you to do. It's just right down there near the bottom. Just make your little piece of your beard. So we know that that's the center of our beard. So now we have to start building our beard from the outside and working in. Okay, so I'm going to start up here. And this is going to be about the same width as my hat. And I'm just going to make a little whoosh, another little whoosh up here. Okay. And then I'm going to make another little whoosh, just like I did down here with the piece of pie. And I'm going to do that down over here. And that's going to be another part of my beard. Okay. And then I'm just going to come down here and make another one. And then I'm going to start connecting this bottom one now. So this one maybe is going to go like this. And it doesn't have to be really solid lines. You'll notice that some of my beard's really light because we're going to blend some of that blue into our beard. So our beard's going to have like a bluey gray tinge to it by the time we're all done. Okay, so look at that. Just like that, just by doing some quick little whooshes, some quick little wedges, just kind of like the shark, just in different sizes over on the one side. We've got one side of our beard done. So if we've done it on this side, now we have to do it over here on this side. So I'm going to do the same idea. So I'm going to just make, but it's going to be backwards now because they're going to be almost like a mirror image, but you don't want them to look exactly the same. Okay, so I'm going to go down and I'm going to make this one go like this. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to make another piece of beard. And then maybe this one's going to go like this. Like that. And then this one's going to maybe just kind of tuck in just like that. So they are just like that now. I've got two sides of my beard. And don't fret if it's not perfect, because you can go back in and you can make this look a little bit different. And you can change these up once we get going. But that essentially is my beard for my little gnome. So we've got our hat, we've got our mustache, and now we've got the outline of our beard. And like I said, don't you worry about that, anything else, because we can go back in and we can make that, and you can change that up a little bit once we get filling all of the pieces in. Okay. So you guys let me know when you got your beard outlined. And then once we get the beard outlined, we just have to do a couple of more little things. We have to figure out where his shoes are gonna live. And then we're gonna start having some fun and we're gonna start filling in our background. Okay, so once you guys have got your shoes, or once you've got your beard all figured out kind of where you want your beard to live, then just give me a thumbs up or say okie dokie. And then we will move on and we will add our shoes to our little guy. Oh, I got one thumbs up. Awesome. Oh, I think I got another thumbs up. Ooh, got a few more. Have we got a couple more coming? Oh, I think so. I think we got some thumbs up. Okay, so we got our basic beard and our basic mustache and our basic hat outlined. Oh, I got a good. Fantastic. All right, so now we're going to still stay with the blue and our little liner brush. And if you're not using a liner brush, just use cotton swabs. And that works just fine as well. And our gnome has to have little shoes. Okay, and the shoes are going to kind of tuck in behind the beard so that, you know, when you have, just if you're brushing your hair and you brush your hair and you can kind of see through your hair and you can see your eyes and everything before you brush it off your face if you've got longer hair, then this is the same idea. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of decide where I want my shoes to live. Now see, I've got this piece of beard here that I'm not real crazy about. So I'm just going to go like this. And I'm going to make almost like a half moon. See that? And that's where that beard, his one shoe is going to go. So this, and I'm actually going to paint this in a little bit in the blue, so I know that that's my shoe. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to paint this, go over where my beard is. So I'm tucking in behind, so I still have pieces of beard. And I'm going to fill this all in with blue, because that's where my one shoe is going to live. Okay, and I'm just using the liner brush still, because that gives me some control. And there we go. So see, that shoe is kind of tucked in behind that beard? That's what I want. Okay, so we've got one little shoe that's kind of just tucking back in there. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side because we want another shoe to live over here. So same idea, just a half moon shape. So I'm going to maybe make my shoe come right about here. And it's going to just tuck right up in behind that beard. And I'm going to fill that all in with blue so that I know that that's where my other shoe is going to live. Just like that. So I've got two little shoes that I know where they're going to live. And I've got my hat. And I've got my mustache and my beard all outlined, so I know where they all are going to be. Okay. Does that make sense for everybody? I hope so. So see, now as I get looking at that, I realize now I want that piece of beard to kind of come this way a little bit more. And that piece of beard is just going to go like that. So that beard now is going to live a little more like that. And this beard's going to tuck in a little bit. I don't want it quite so wide there, so it's going to be a little bit smaller. Now see, I've got a line there, and I'm not too concerned about that line because I'm going to paint over it. That's one of the cool things about paint, is that you can change your mind on where things live and you can paint over them afterwards. Okay, that makes sense for everybody? So now that I've got that beard, that piece is going to live there and that piece is going to live there. Perfect. So you guys let me know when you got your shoes all done, and then you're going to rinse that brush or you're going to throw that cotton swab out. Okay, and I'm just rinsing my brush and I'm going to dry it off. And I'm going to use it a little bit later. Okay, so you guys let me know when you've got your shoes in place, and then we'll move on to the next step. Because the next step is now we've got to paint the background. We've got to figure out where our gnome is going to live. Okay, so I'm going to use black and white, and I'm going to make a gray fence, but if you don't have black and white, you can make the fence whatever color you want it to be. So for that, I'm going to use my big flat brush. If you don't have a big flat brush, you can use a piece of kitchen sponge, and you're going to get the exact same effect. Okay, so now we know that our shoes are living on the ground. We want our ground to be a little bit higher than where our actual shoes are. Okay, so the background is going to be a little bit higher than where our actual shoes are. So now I'm going to take some white paint. Got white paint on that brush. And I'm going to add just a teeny tiny little bit of black. Like just a tiny, tiny little bit. So I just flipped the brush over to the other side and I added a little tiny bit of black. Black you only want a little bit of because black is a really strong color. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, let me go, there we go. So you can see that, perfect. So I'm going to paint up and down with big lasagna strokes, but I want it to be streaky. Everybody see how I'm making that streaky? Now I've still got lots of black on that brush, so the next dab I go in, I'm just going to take white. And I'm just going to keep painting upward with white. And you'll notice that as I'm painting, it looks kind of streaky, right? Let me see how it's kind of streaky like that. That's the look I want because I want it to look like old farm boards. And I'm only going to go down to about there. Okay, so see I've left quite a bit of white space between the board and the bottom of my canvas because I want my elf to look like he's actually standing in the snow. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to continue on. Now I'm not coming too close to my hat. I'm getting there. I'm pretty close, but I'm not. And if I overlap it a little bit, that's okay. And everything is going straight up and down. Okay, so see, I'm just kind of going in. I'm just kind of lifting and flicking at the same time. So I'm not painting really heavy. I'm just doing quick little strokes right up my canvas. Okay, and then I'm going to just grab some more white paint, and I might need a little bit more black this time because I've got taken a lot of my black out, and I'm going to continue right on, and I'm going straight up. And I'm coming really close to my hat, and I'm just continuing straight up. Straight upward flick, straight up and down. And if I get a little bit of blue into my barn board, that's okay, because that's just going to make the board look more rustic. Okay, so just really nice and light. Just quick little flicks right up and down. So see, I'm almost touching that hat, and in some spots I'm overlapping it a little bit, and that's okay. I want to do that. So I'm going to do the same thing. And if you're uncomfortable when you're getting into these little tight spots in here, you can pick up and use your smaller brush or one of your cotton swabs, and you can go right and see, look, I'm going right over that blue, and that's okay because all that's doing is that's just showing me where my lines are going to be anyway. Oh, look at that. See, I went right over those blue, and that's okay. I want to go over that blue because the blue is just your guide markers because you're going to paint over that later anyway. See, I'm just kind of going right in there. Going right over stuff. I know this is going to be hard for some of my type A personalities that have to be very precise. This is not a precise art. Art and painting is very imprecise, and you're just only limited by your imagination. So see, I'm just flicking in. I'm going right over that blue. Oh, look, see, I got a little bit of blue up into my barn board, and that's okay. I want to do that. It's all right to do that. And I'm just kind of ticking right around the mustache, right around the beard, on the far side, just like that. It's not too precise. It's not too perfect. I got a little bit more blue happening. So see, I'm just going to pull some of that blue now up into my board. And that just gives me a little bit of blue in the board, and that's okay. So now what I want you to do when you're painting all your background, I want you to paint the edges of your canvas. So I want you to paint the top, and I want you to paint the sides where it wraps around. Because one thing that happens with canvas is a natural cotton material. And with cotton, like anything, it shrinks over time. So if you don't treat it and paint it, then it's going to shrink and it may cause your paint to crack. And you don't want that because you've spent a long time creating your masterpiece. So you want your painting to look and stay lovely. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking some of that white and that black, that gray, and I'm just painting the edges of my canvas so that they're all covered up. And just like that, I have a background. And see, it's streaky, and I want streaky. Streaky is very important because it makes a big, big difference when it comes to your barn board. It makes it look very natural. It makes it look old and weathered, like it's been sitting out in the sun for a long time. And that's the look you want. Okay, so I'm gonna, once you're done that, then you can rinse your brush. Or if you're using kitchen sponge, you just throw that little kitchen sponge off to the side and then get ready for the next step. So when you clean your brushes, make sure you give them a good dry. If you've got some paper towel. And there's my brush all clean and ready to go for the next step. Okay, so you guys take your time and then you give me a thumbs up or you let me know when you've got some, when you're there and when you've got, you're ready to go to the next step. Just say okay or all good, or if you've got questions, you can ask them to me as we're painting. It may jiggle a little bit. My camera may jiggle a little bit because I've got my phone set up right beside me. So I'm just trying to keep it all steady and good for you and in one spot. Okay, so just let me know when you're there and when you're ready to go. And then we'll do a couple of more little quick things and then we're going to start filling in stuff. Because it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to have a lot of fun with this guy. I hope that you like him and I hope that he makes you smile. Because I really liked him. I thought it made me really happy when I started creating him and how cute he turned out. Well, I saw a thumbs up. Have we got a couple more thumbs up happening? Maybe, maybe not. Just take your time, guys. We are here. We're going to make this look all really pretty. He's going to be adorable when he's all done. You're going to be really happy with him, I hope. Okay, so just take your time. Just let me know when you're ready to go and we'll get on to the next step. And we will make our barn board a little more realistic. Okay. Just take your time. And then you guys just let me know. Okay. Oh, I think everybody's really concentrating very heavily on their paintings to make them all stand out, make them all lovely. I hope so. I can't wait. One of the things I really like about when I paint is that when we're done, what I really would love for you guys to do is to, in the event page itself or in the comments at the bottom of our live feed, is to share photos of your finished projects because I really love to see them. It makes me really excited to see how people are connecting to their creativity and having a little bit of fun. And some of you are doing this as a family event, which is fantastic. And I love that very much. I know that my niece, who could not be with us tonight, she usually joins in for all of our lives and she's going to join us at a later time because like I said, I am going to keep this up on my Facebook page for a couple of days. And then she's going to do it and then she'll send me a picture. So when you do this, hi Brooke, can't wait to see what yours turns out. So just let me know when you guys are ready. And if I get a thumbs up or say all good or we're good to go, if I get a couple of those, then we'll move on to the next stage. But I don't want to jump ahead with anybody and I don't want you guys to get discouraged or upset if I'm jumping ahead and you're not there yet. Oh, I got a background all set. Okay, good stuff. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our little liner brush again, and we're just going to go into the black. So I've just got a tiny, 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 tiny little bit of black. I think you can see that. Should be able to see that. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to figure out where my boards are going to go. And this is just a quick flick of the wrist. So I don't want really solid black lines. I just want see how that line is not totally solid, but it defines itself as a line. All right, so just a really quick up and down, and you'll notice that it's not straight at all. I don't want it to be straight. And then I'm going to move over and I'm going to do the next one. And there's my second board. Okay, so just a tiny little bit of black on that brush. And then I just want to go up and down really quickly. So that now tells me that that's where my barn boards are going to live. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 barn boards now. And that's all I want you to do. Quick little lines. Nothing too solid, but just to give the illusion that those boards are actually living there. Okay. All right. So once you've done that, then we have to make some more solid lines. So I'm going to use my flat square, my little guy. If you don't have one of these, just use your liner brush. And we're going to dip into black. And I'm going to put quite a bit of black on that brush now. I've got quite a bit of black there. I think you can see that. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make my strings so I know where my lights are going to live. So this one I'm going to start my string right about here. And I'm not going straight. I'm just taking my time. And I'm just grabbing paint. And this one's going to go right up off the corner, just like that. So there's my first string of lights. Okay. And then my second string of lights is going to come in from the other side, and it's almost going to make an X. And it's going to go right up to the top, over top of my gnome's head. Okay, and then my third string of lights, it's going to cross again, and it's going to come down and off of my canvas as well. So I've got 3 different strings of lights happening, just like that. And that's just with this brush, with my small flat brush, and I used it like a piece of spaghetti. So it's still got some thinness to it and some thickness in a few spots. And then I'm gonna still take that same brush. I got my black on it again. And I'm just gonna push some little squares onto my canvas. Just like that. On both sides of that string. And that's where my lights are going to go eventually. And they can go in either side. They can go up, they can go down. You decide where you want your lights to live. Okay, and that little light, I'm going to put him here so he's going to overlap that hat. And then I'm going to have one that come right down here like that. So that's all my lights now. And then when I'm done that, I'm going to rinse that brush. And when you're all done that, just rinse your brush. And now you've got your light string, and we'll fill those in a little bit. Okay, so you guys let me know when you get your light string done. And then we will move on and we will start filling some stuff in and make some fun colors and some things happen. And if you're just watching and just seeing what I'm doing, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love having people come in and join us. I love what I do. This is just so much fun for me. And it is just a joy. And painting grounds me. It brings me back to myself. It's a big, big stress reliever for me. And I don't know if some people it's not. Sometimes it's very stressful for people to paint, and I understand that. But for me, painting is so much joy. Brings me so much joy. It just makes me really happy to do it. Oh, Tasha, I'm so happy that you're watching. Just watch, enjoy, have fun. I'm a goof. I really am. I even have my Santa hat on tonight. See? And just watch and enjoy. And you know, maybe one day you'll want to try something like this. And if you do, please feel free. All right, so I think we're probably in a pretty good spot. I think we probably got some light strings happening. We've got our background done. So I'm going to take my big brush. Now, this is up to you. You can use your big brush, or you can use your small flat brush, or you can use a kitchen sponge if you've got a kitchen sponge. And, oh, hun, you know what? She could try this. Try it one day. I'm going to keep these up on my Facebook page for a little while. And if you want to try it together, then you can stop and start it. And then you can maybe try it and give it a shot and see. Because I'd start my painting classes from age 5 and up. Believe it or not. So, going back to the brushes. So we've got our big flat brush. We've got our small flat brush. It's up to you. You guys can decide now what brush you want to use. Because we're going to fill in our hat. So we're going to fill in our hat twice. So the first go, I'm going to use my big brush. And I'm going to use the blue. Okay. And I'm just loading my brush up with blue, just like that. And then all I'm going to do now is I'm going to just start filling in my hat. And I'm going to do it in almost like a smiley face pattern because I want my hat to look a little bit round. And you'll notice that I'm not sticking on the lines. I'm going over those lines a little bit. And that's okay. The only line I'm going to kind of be mindful of is my mustache line down here at the bottom. But remember how I told you at the beginning that those lines are just guideposts for us? That's all they really are. They're just there for you to kind of make your mind up on where you want your hat to live. Okay, so see, I'm just going right over those lines. And then I'm kind of coming in almost like a happy face motion. Just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Is I'm going to figure out where my hat's going to live over here. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of coming back and forth in almost like a happy face motion. And when you do it in a happy face motion like that, when you kind of go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and remember I said we're going to give this 2 coats. What that does is that it gives your eye the illusion that the hat is on a round head. So see how I just do that? And look at that, I got a little bit of black in it from the string, and that's okay. Because we're going to go over it again. I don't mind that there's a little bit of black in there because it maybe looks like a little bit of the wrinkle of the hat, just like one of the folds. So I'm going to go right up here again. And I'm just filling that hat in. And again, I'm going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with the blue. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side. I'm going to kind of figure out where my hat's living. And see already? See how that line just disappears if I just keep painting on it? So that just gives me a little bit of depth in my hat, but nothing too stark. And I'm going down into my carrot. We painted our carrot earlier. And I'm filling that in as well. And then the same thing, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So see that? Just like that. And it's only 1 coat of paint, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be really heavy because we are going to go back in there and we're going to paint again. Because when we go back in and paint with the second time, it's going to fill that in for us, and it's going to make it look a little more realistic. And then when you're all done that, then I want you to clean your brush for me. Okay, so I'm just going to clean that brush and give it a good dry, and then it'll be ready to go for when I use it the next time. Okay. So just take your time and paint your hat, and then you guys let me know when you're ready to go. Because now we're going to start playing in his beard a little bit. So there we go. Look at that. It's already starting to look a little bit like a gnome. I think he's so cute. I was just so excited when he started to come to life on my canvas. I was really happy with how he turned out. So we've got our string of lights. We've done our background. We got some snow down here that we're going to funk around with and make that a little bit fun a little bit later. And we just put the first coat on our hat. We've got the first coat on our shoes. And we're making our gnome. Isn't it cool how things start to happen, how quickly they start to come to life? I love it. It makes me really happy. I just think Jer-gnome's pretty cute. And I didn't come up with the name. I can't take credit for that. My friend was very creative, who is very, very creative. She came up with the name Jer-gnome, and I loved it right away. Because I said, you know, when you remember, if anybody's seen the movie Gnomeo and Juliet, how they've used the gnome as part of the name, that's what I wanted to do, but I couldn't think of anything. I had creative writer's block that day. So she came up with that for me. Okay, so you guys let me know when your hat's all filled in. And then we're going to move on to the next stop. We're going to start filling in the beard. We're going to start giving it some fun. Okay, Ashley, thank you. You are awesome. You are rocking it tonight. You're giving me some great guidance because it's silent. I'm not doing it as a Zoom call. And so when I don't do it as a Zoom call and I do it as a Facebook Live, I don't know if anybody's actually paying attention or what they're doing. All right, so I'm going to take my small square again. We're going to get your small square, and you're going to get some black this time. So just some black, just a little bit of black. So remember how I talked about painting with spaghetti, and we did that earlier with the lines up top? We're going to do the same thing now. So where those blue lines were with that we made earlier, we're going to go over those. And if you don't want to use your small square, you can use your liner brush. You're going to go over those with black. Okay, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just taking that and I'm lining those now. And it's going to look cartoony, a little bit cartoony, and that's okay. And this is where you can decide if you want to change the shape of your beard. This is the time to do it. Because the black, once you put the black on there, there's no going back. So you'll see that I'm just changing. Okay, so I'm just going like that. And I'm just going over those lines that I made a little bit earlier, and I'm just going over them with black now. And just like that, I have the outline of a beard. Oh, way to go, hubby. Fantastic. Love it. You guys are awesome. What a great team. Yay! Congratulations. Good job. Okay, so all I'm doing is I just outline now. I took all those little lines, okay, that I made earlier for my beard, and I just outline them now in black. And I changed the shape on a couple of them, but not too many. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom part of my mustache. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing with the little top, the pieces that we connected with them as well. And that's all you're going to do for now. So I just want you to outline those in black. Okay. And that's it. So now what I want you to do is I want you to take that same brush, whether you're using your liner brush or you're using your small flat brush, and you're just going to make some quick little lines in your beard. So I'm just going with spaghetti strokes, and I'm just going up from those corners that we just put in there, just like that. Okay, and I'm just following along with the shapes that I originally painted. And see this one, these shapes are going in a little bit, these shapes are going like that. And I'm just doing that with the black as well. And that's all I want you to do. So it kind of looks like hair all along the bottom. So I've just taken some quick little strokes, nothing too major. I just want it to look a little bit nice and light because we're going to go over that with white paint now. So as soon as you put all of those in, all of those strokes, those brush strokes in, those quick little flicks. See, I've left lots of white around them and I can still see the blue in there, and that's what I want. Now I'm going to start loading in white. Okay, so you guys let me know when you're ready. So I just did an outline basically, almost like a cartoon outline. So anything that we had in blue, I've just gone over with the black now. Okay, so just give me a little bit of love or give me some thumbs up or let me know. And then, like I said, we're just filling this all in now. We're gonna start filling this all in. So we still wanna see those black lines, but we're gonna start going over some of those black lines as well. So I've got my white, I didn't rinse my brush. See, there's the black from before. And now I've just loaded it up with white. So now I'm going to start going from the bottom up. And I'm filling in those spots with just white paint. And you'll see what's happening. And again, it's kind of the same idea as what we did with the fence. And we're just using straight white. We want that streaky look because we want the beard to look like it's got movement in it. And I'm going over those black outlines, but I'm just using straight white. And then what happens is as you get using that white, see how streaks are starting to happen? And I'm just following those streaks in the same direction as I did when I did the outline of my beard initially. And I'm bringing that black up because we just outlined everything in black. And if your brush gets a little bit muddy, just give it a quick wipe off with a paper towel and then just go straight in with white again. And that's all I'm doing is I'm kind of going up and I'm following those same lines. So see how that just kind of makes all that look like it's moving? That's the look you want to go for. Just like I said, just like what you did with the fence, you want the same, I think, same thing to happen. Okay. So just straight white. And you want it to look streaky, like it's a beard, nice big fluffy beard. We're going to go back in with this again. This is just the first part of this. Okay. It's just flicking it around. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking those lines that we just did in the black and we're just softening them up a little bit. That's all. It's giving us the illusion that we have a beard happening here. Okay. Now you'll notice I didn't paint all the way up. I left that. Okay, and that's what I want you to do. I just want you to leave that because I want this to dry a little bit so that we can go back in and we can start adding more color to it. So it might look pretty dark right now and it might look pretty muddy, and that's okay because it will get lighter as we get going. I promise it'll lighten up quite a bit once we get moving, but this is just the under part of the beard. Because if we do things in layers and we let the paint dry in between, then when we start adding more paint to it, it's going to give us depth and it's going to make it more interesting for our eye, and we're going to really like it that way. It's going to look much better and much more appealing to us. Okay, so you guys let me know when you've got that part done. And then we will move on to the next step. Ashley's been my girl. She's like giving me the okay and the thumbs up. So this is fantastic. It makes me really happy and excited to know that somebody's following along with me tonight. All right, so we've got our background, which that's drying. Mine looks pretty dry. We're almost there with our string of lights. Our hat still needs a little bit of work. So the next thing we're going to work on over here is we're going to do our Christmas ball. Okay. So just take your time with your beard, and we're not going all the way up to the line where our mustache comes to. We're leaving that white because we're going to come back in here and we're going to make some more white in there. We're going to soften this up quite a bit. And we're going to just make some nice little fun colors in there. We're going to add a little tiny bit of blue here and there just so it makes it look like a grizzled old beard. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna leave that beard now because we gotta let that dry. Okay, it's all getting dried off. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some red paint with my flat brush. If you don't have the small flat brush, you can use a cotton swab, you can use a kitchen sponge, it's up to you. And then I'm gonna make a small circle. Now that doesn't look very much like a Christmas ball. But what that does is that kind of gives me an area, an anchor point to work from. And now I'm just gonna make that bigger. This is how I work. If you just wanna draw a circle and fill it all in, you go for it. But this is how I work when I paint. Because I find that I get a little more control over that when I make a circle. And then I just keep making that circle a little bit bigger. It's not perfect by any means, but that's just the way I do it. And I'm just going around and around and around. And you'll notice that it's part on the board and part in the snow. So that, just like that. And it's a little bit see-through, and that's okay because we're gonna come back and we're gonna add a second coat to that as well. So see how it's just kind of circle, 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 and I just made it bigger, and part of it's on the board and part of it's in the snow. Pam, hi, welcome. You know what? Watch along, follow along, have some fun. I'm gonna leave this live on my Facebook page for the next couple of days, and if you wanna give it a shot and try it on your own in your own time, by all means, please go ahead and do that, because I love when other people find me and discover what's going on in my little world. Because, you know, I am a creature of my own little world. But yeah, I just follow and I break it down into step by step by step and make it very easy and manageable for everybody to follow along. Okay, so just got that circle. And like I said, it looks a little bit see-through, but part of it's in the snow and part of it's on the board. But we're going to go back and we're going to make a second coat on that. So we've got our fun little beard that we've still got white in. We haven't touched our mustache yet. We've got the first coat on our hat. And now we're going to go up here and we're going to put some lights in. So I'm going to put all 4 color lights in because I'm a traditionalist. And when you have like Christmas lights, way back in the day when we had the old bulb Christmas lights, yes, I'm old enough to remember those, they had the 4 colors. They had yellow, red, green, and blue. And the Christmas lights are all basically just egg shapes. That's all I'm doing. It's just a little egg shape. And you decide how big or how small you want those balls to be, those Christmas bulbs, those Christmas lights. And just like that, I've got a Christmas light. It's not perfect, but it's okay. It's not a perfect egg shape. I don't want it to be a perfect egg shape. But I might make it, just try and make it a little bit. There we go, just like that. There. So see, it's not perfectly square on my little triangle. It's not perfectly perfect. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna add a few little red lights. Because why not just use the same color the whole time instead of changing out our colors all the time. And there's our other one. Now, these ones are okay to be a little bit see-through because they are glass. And glass, you can see through it. You should be able to see through it. So I've got 2. Let's add maybe another one over here. Maybe we'll add one here. And this one, whoops, look at that. It's coming off the side of the canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right around and I'm going to paint right over on the edge of my canvas. Just like that. So now I got another red one. And then I'm going to add maybe one more right here. And again, it's just really pretty much an egg shape. And look at that. I'm starting to get Christmas lights. So I'm going to rinse that brush out. And again, like I said, those ones are okay. You want these to have a little bit of luminosity to them. You want to be able to see through them a little bit because they are glass balls after all, right? So now I've got red ones up here. Now I'm going to figure out where my green ones are going to live. So maybe I'm going to do a green one right here. And there we go. I got a green one. And then maybe I'll do a green one. Where else am I going to have a green one live? Maybe I'll put a green one right here. And there I got another little green one. Now you'll notice that all my lights are not the same size, and that's okay. They don't have to be. It's my world. I'm going to do it whatever way I want to do it. Okay. Now, I'm going to have a green one live. Maybe right here. Now this green one, he's kind of tucking in behind my hat. So you'll notice that I'm painting right up beside my hat, but I didn't go over it. So he's just kind of living on the edge. So just right there on the edge, just living there, just kind of hanging out. And I got 3 green ones. I think I'm happy with 3 green ones. Now I'm going to rinse my brush. And really, like I said, they're just egg shapes. And now I'm going to go in with some yellow. And I'm going to do a yellow one. So this yellow one, first one's going to live right about here maybe. Now yellow, you won't be able to see very well. But that's okay, because we're going to go back in with all of these afterwards. And we're going to add a little bit of white to them so that it gives it almost like a reflection. And as soon as I do that, you're going to see those yellow ones really pop. But again, he's like right in there. You want it to be right in there, so you want to be able to see it, but it's okay if it's see-through. And I'm going to put another yellow one right here. And again, this guy, little guy, he's going to tuck in behind this hat again. He's coming right up to the hat, but not quite there. There's my other yellow one. And I'm going to put another yellow one right here. So again, he's just going to live just kind of barely there. He's in behind my hat again. So of course, now that I've got my yellow ones on there, now I have to do my blue ones. Because, you know, it wouldn't be a traditional Christmas string of lights if it didn't have blue Christmas lights. So again, same thing, that same old egg shape. And look at that, I got a blue light. Blue light special. Who's old enough to remember those? God, I'm just dating myself all over the place tonight. Holy jumping. Look at that. Huh, look at that. We got Christmas lights happening. And then, of course, we've still got one more that we got to do over here. So, oops, look at that one. He's coming. He's going to live off the edge of that canvas as well. And there we go. We got blue lights happening now. So again, going to rinse that brush. I'm going to dry it. You guys let me know when you're on to your... when you get your Christmas lights all done. And then we are going to move on to the next step. Are we having fun? Is it looking like it's fun? I think he's so sweet. I really do love this little guy. He's been living in my head for a little while and I needed to get him out on a canvas. So I'm really glad that I was able to do that. I think he's really adorable. Kind of sweet on the gnome. So if you don't want to put all 4 colors in, if you don't have all 4 colors in your Christmas lights, you don't have to add all 4 colors. It's totally up to you. It's your world and you get to live in it whatever way you want to live in it. I happen to put all 4 colors in because, you know, I'm old. And that's okay. Oh, Heather, we got a thumbs up from Heather. Awesome, Heather. All right, I think you're following along. This is fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is we have to go back in because our shoes are looking a little bit streaky. So we want to go back into those shoes and we want to fill that blue back in. So we want to put our second coat in. So I'm just going to use my little tiny liner brush and I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to add some more blue onto those those shoes. And see that just by me adding that second coat, it's starting to fill that all in and making it look much nicer, making those shoes look a little nicer. See the difference that makes just by adding that extra little bit of paint? It just fills it all right in and it just makes everything look really lovely. So this is my second shoe. So I'm going to go over here now and I'm going to add some blue paint on that one. And I'm going to give him a second coat of paint. Just like that. And just by adding that second coat of paint, see the difference that makes? It just fills that all right in. Okay. All right. I think we're in good shape. So now what I want to do is I want to take my little brush, my little flat brush, and I've just added that second coat of paint of blue. Now what I want to do is I want to give the shoes a little bit of soul. S-O-L-E, not S-O-U-L. But it could be S-O-U-L too. Maybe we have a funky gnome who likes to dance and party. And all I'm doing is I'm just taking the black and I'm pushing it along the bottom of that shoe. And look at that! We got a bottom on our shoe. And then do the same thing for the other one. And now we have little soles on the bottom of our shoes. Isn't that cool? Just that little thing that makes such a big, big difference. All right, so now we want to go back up into our hat and we want to put our second coat in. But this time when we put our second coat in, we're going to take lots of blue and you decide what brush you want to use, whether you want to use your big brush or you want to use your little brush. And I'm going to grab a little bit of white. So I've got my big brush with a little bit of white on there. You can see that. I think you guys can see that. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going in from the side. Ooh, see how that glob of white just goes right on there like that? But then look what happens. The more I paint over that white and bring that in, the more full my hat looks. And what that does, that little bit of white mixing in with the blue, that gives my hat some depth. So see how that does that? It's just a tiny little bit of white. And now my hat looks like it's got little bits of folds and stuff in it. So again, lots of blue, and a little bit of white. And then you're just going to go, remember in that smiley motion again, we're going to go in just almost like a smiley motion. And we're just going to go back and forth and back and forth. And see, just by adding that little bit of white, not only does that give you some depth in your hat, but also kind of makes it look like the hat has little folds in it, and that's the look you want. See how that changes that just by doing that little bit? See that? Just by adding a little bit of white, look at the difference that makes. So we got a little bit of white happening in with that blue. And that just fills that whole hat in and gives you a whole different look. And see how, remember how I said, just do almost like little happy faces. And then it makes the hat look like it's round. So continue on and go all the way up your hat. And then I'm going to do the same thing over on our little carrot side. Over here, I'm going to do the same thing. Just grabbing that white and I'm pulling it in just like that. And now my hat looks like it's got some movement in it. Well, see, just like that, you've got a hat that's got some funk in it now. So you've got a hat that's got lots of nice movement in it. And you've just filled it all in. And now you've got a nice, puffy, rich looking hat with lots of color in it. And that makes a big difference when you add white and when you add black to a painting, it makes such a big difference because it gives your eye interest. So if you look at something and you go, oh, I'm not sure if I like that or not, it sometimes is the light and the shadow that plays with it with your eye. Okay, and while that hat is still wet, I'm going to take my little brush again, my little flat brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of white, and I'm just going to make some little dot, like I'm going to make a little dot line, nothing too solid. Okay. But you'll notice how I'm just making that line kind of go up in there like that, and along the edge of that carrot that we did. And now the hat looks like it's got a little fold in it. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I'm just going to go right along. Maybe I'm going to go this way a little bit more. There we go. That's the look I want. So there, now that hat. So I'm just dot, 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 dot. Quick little dabs. Nothing too solid. Now that hat looks like it has a little fold in it. Okay, so I've got that little mark right there. Just gives you that look. And just like that, our hat has a little fold in it. Isn't that cool? Isn't that a cool effect? Just by using white, it tricks your eye. So you let me know when your hat's all filled in and when you've got your little line happening. And you'll notice that it's not where I painted the carrot. I actually went into the hat a little bit. So it just gave it a little more interest and made it look a little more puffy at the top. So when you've got that part done, then let me know. Okay, because then we're moving on to the next step. You guys are sticking with me and I'm so impressed. This is really awesome. Because we really don't have a whole lot left to do, believe it or not. I know it may seem like it, but we're really getting there. We're really crushing this one. Because the next step is we've got to give our beard a little bit more work. Because, you know, we want to make sure that our beard's looking awesome. Oh, I see lots of thumbs up. Thank you. This is awesome. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. Okay, Lisa. Yay. Fantastic. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got some done and I got some thumbs up. You guys are the best. Okay, so now we have to take our beard. We're going to go back into our beard. Okay, everybody ready? So we're going to use this one right here. There's my Ashley. Good job, Ashley. Elizabeth, yay. You guys are, see, this is awesome. Okay, so we're going to take our small square brush and we're going back into our beard with just white. Because this is already on here and it's pretty dark, we need to lighten this up now a little bit. And all I'm doing is I'm just going to take my white paint and I'm just going right over it. And in some spots, you're going to see, and I'm bare, like it's not a lot, it's not heavy, but see, just by adding that little bit of white into those few spots, and I don't want it to be a solid white, almost like dry brushing. Okay, and if you painted with me before, dry brushing is when you just take a glob of paint and you just keep moving it around and moving it around and moving it around and moving it around until you get the desired shade that you want. And you might have a little bit of black in there that's still wet, and that's okay. But see what happens when you start adding that white? See how that beard just lightened up almost immediately. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, and I'm just going to add some white. So I'm going to just grab another little glob of white, and that's just going to keep going and going and going, just like the Energizer Bunny. But just I'm adding those little bits of white here and there and everywhere. I'm still keeping some of that black in there because I still want that contrast, because I want to be able to tell the beard apart from the fence. But just adding those little bits of white just softens that beard up. Just that little bit that you want. Because, you know, we got a funky beard happening here. And that's the look we want. All right. And then in that, so now that I've got that beard happening with that white in there, I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of blue. So just barely, like barely, like, I mean, I hardly have any blue on there. And it's the same technique. It's that same dry brushing technique. And see what happens when I start adding a little bit of that blue in there? It almost gives that beard a grizzly look. It's just a little tiny bit of blue here and there. And if you don't want to add the blue, you don't have to add the blue. That's okay. I just like the beard with a little tiny look of that blue in there, just to give it a little bit of interest. And it doesn't have to be everywhere. It can just be in a few spots, just kind of here and there. And see that? I've just added a little bit of blue. So now I'm starting to go a little bit closer to the bottom line of our mustache. So I just keep adding that white into the bottom line of our mustache. And I'm adding a little bit of that blue. And I'm going right up now to that line. So just keep going until you get it right up into that line. So we still have black happening. You can still see the black in spots. But see that what happens when you just add that little bit of white? Now you've got some depth happening in that beard. And I'm just flicking. I'm not doing anything too serious. Not grabbing too much paint. And that's all I've done is I just flick. Just quick little flicks. Okay. And so that same technique that we've just done with the flick, you want to do now with the mustache. So again, so it's that same little technique, that flick. So I'm just flicking. Now I'm going to try and keep that line there as much as I can. And I'm going right up to my hat. And this is mostly white up here now because we want the mustache to look a little bit different than the beard, right? So see, as I'm adding that, just flicking. That's all I'm doing is I'm just flicking. So I'm adding white, just grabbing white because my black lines are a little bit wet still. So I'm grabbing some black as I'm going too. And I got a little bit of blue happening in there. So see how that just grabs some of that black in there, just like that. And I'm just flicking and flicking. And see that? So now I'm just going to keep grabbing the white. And I'm just filling in my mustache now. And I'm just grabbing a little bit of black because I want to balance it out a little bit over here on this side. And I'm not going all the way across. I'm just going up and I'm leaving a spot there because eventually my nose is going to go in there. So see how I've just left that spot open? It's not too precise. And I'm just flicking. And you can still see the black line of my mustache pretty good. Okay, if you want to lighten it up a little bit, you can lighten it up a little bit. But as long as you got the illusion of that it's there, that you can see it. He's turning out pretty cute. I kind of like this little guy. All right, so I'm just flicking, just quick little flicks, nothing too serious. I don't want it to be too, oops, I went over that line a little too much. There we go. Don't want it to be too solid. I want it to kind of look, give it that illusion of hair, similar to what we did with the barn board, just a little more flicks. Flick, 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 flick. Okay. And then the last thing I want you to do is I want you to take that same brush and you're going to add a whole bunch of white. And you're going to add just a tiny smidge of black. And I mean a tiny smidge. Can you see how little it's on there? Right there. See? I got white and just a tiny little smidge of black. And all I'm doing now is I'm going to paint little lines underneath the mustache into the beard. And for this, you might want to use your liner brush. I'm actually think I'm going to switch to my liner brush because I kind of like it better. Oh no, this is working. And so see how I'm just making little lines. I'm following that W. So if you want to use your liner brush, use your liner brush. Okay, so see I'm just ooh, that one's pretty dark. So I'm just following that W. And I'm making little lines down into my beard. And what that's doing, it's not right tight up against that mustache line, but that just gives that the illusion that there's a little mouth under there somewhere. See that? Just like that. Quick little flicky lines. Look at that, just like that. Okay, so when you've got the beard and the mustache done, let me know, because we're going to leave those alone again. And now we just got to start filling in a few little things. We got some flicky little lines happening. Flicky, 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 flicky. To make the mustache all nice and cool. Nice and fluffy. We threw a little bit of blue into our beard. Just in a couple of spots just to make it kind of look like he's got a little bit of grizzle in there. Because blue's an important color to use too. All right, you guys let me know when you're done. And then we're going to go back up into our lights and we're just going to give them a little bit of white to make them pop. And we're going to add a second coat to our Christmas ball and then put a top on it. So you guys let me know when you're there. Again, like I said, we got a space here in the middle and we're going to go do something with that space, but we just got to leave that for now, okay? We just got to let that sit for just a few minutes so that we let everything else dry. And this is my little gnome. This is Jer-gnome. And I think he's just so sweet. I think he's just got so much character. Oh, and there's Maureen. Hello, honey. How are you? Maureen's one of my dearest, dearest friends. She's watching from Rochester. I hope you guys are safe and healthy and happy. I hope everybody is safe and healthy and happy. It's been a crazy year this year, that's for sure. All right, so you guys let me know. Give me some thumbs up and let me know when you are ready for the next step. And then we're going to go back into our Christmas ball and we're going to just gussy it up a little bit. Make it look all nice and pretty. And then we're going to gussy up our lights a little bit. Guess what, guys? We are almost done. Oh, Ashley, yeah, all right. Woohoo. Okay, Ashley's my bellwether tonight, I think. There's a few of you that are really good at letting me know. Okay, so grab your little brush again. Get some red on there, and we're going to do a second coat of red on our Christmas ball. Okay. And then once you got that red on there and it's good and wet, I got red on there. It's good and wet. See that? Got lots of red on there. I'm going to take a little tiny bit of white. So again. All right, Heather. Yeah, good job. Okay. So I've got just did a second coat of red. Now I've got a little bit of white on this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that white and I'm just going to go like and follow the circle with the white. Until I get it where it looks like it's highlighting it a little bit. So see that? See if I just keep adding that white. Ooh, went out of the line a little bit. That's okay. And if you go to your original circle, you just make it a little bit bigger. No big deal. So see how that white just kind of fills that Christmas ball in? And it makes it just look a little more full, and it just gives it a highlighted look. Just like that. Okay. It's just a little bit of white in with the red, painting in the circle direction. And you just keep going until you're happy with that highlight. So now I'm going to take that white again, and I'm just going to give a quick swoop in the same direction. So now it looks like I've got a little piece of reflection on that Christmas ball. Okay, so you just keep filling in with the white and the red combined until you get a nice glow almost with your Christmas light. And then when you're done, give yourself a nice little swoosh right on the top. Just a quick little swoosh, just straight white. Because that makes it look like the light's coming down and shining on your Christmas light, on your Christmas ball. All right, so now I'm gonna add a little bit of decoration to my light and my Christmas light, or my Christmas bauble. So I'm just gonna take my brush, take this brush, and if you wanna use your liner brush, you can. And I'm just gonna make some lines. Now my lines are slightly curved because I want my lines to look like they are on a round object. So see how I'm just slightly curving those lines? And when you slightly curve those lines, it makes your Christmas bauble look like it's round. So see, just like that. And then I'm going to take that same brush and I'm going to dip it in the white again. Going back into that good old white. We like white. White's our friend. And we're just going to put lines on there in between. And I'm not being too fussy. I'm just kind of letting wherever my fingers take me. Not too precise. Doesn't have to be perfect. So now my lines look kind of blue, kind of white. And look at that, just like that. I got a Christmas ball. See? And you can put whatever design you want on there. It doesn't have to be anything too specific. It doesn't have to be anything too perfect. If you want to just put dots on there, if you want to just leave it plain, it's up to you. It's your call. It's your world. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little top on it. So remember how up here we put the little squares to make where our lights go? You can do the exact same thing, but you're not going to put it straight on the top. You want to put it almost to the side a little bit. So I'm just going to do that, and I'm just going to push and put a little ball. So it almost looks like it's wearing a hat. So see, it's off to the side just a little bit. And that when you do that like that, instead of putting it straight on the top, is it gives it more interest. Okay. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take that same brush and you're gonna add a little bit of red to that brush. Like tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of red. See that red? Just a tiny little bit. Okay. And all you're going to do is you're going to take the extra red paint off. So you've just got, again, we're going to use this dry brushing technique. And I'm just going to do a zigzag underneath that bulb, that Christmas bulb, just like that. So it's called dry brushing. So it's barely there, but it's there. And we're going to fancy that all up when we add our snow. So look at that. Now we got a Christmas ball hanging out with our nice little Jer-gnome. Okay, you guys let me know when you're ready, and we're moving on to the next step. Because we're almost done, guys. We really are almost done, I promise. Okay, I think we got some painters happening. Everybody's getting lots of painting done. This is exciting. I can't wait to see these final pieces. And I've been doing these paintings now virtually since March, once everything started, and it looks like we're going into lockdown in a lot of places again. So I will try and do some more of these. I also do private ones as well. So if you want some more information on how to do a private party with your friends and family from all around the country and around the world, let me know. And I will totally do that with you because it's a lot of fun. So when you guys have got your Christmas bauble all done, you let me know. And then we are going to move on to the next spot. Oh, Ashley. All right, Ashley's ready. Woohoo! Okay. Little brush. Little liner brush. We're just going to grab some white in our little liner brush. And we're going to go up into each of these lights. And we're just going to make same thing as we did down here, just in a smaller scale. And we're just going to put some little white swooshes on them, because now it makes it look like the lights are reflecting. So I want you to do all those ones except for the yellow one. And then I'll explain why we're doing the yellow one in a minute. So you're just doing some quick little swooshes on each of these lights, except for the yellow. And we'll do the yellow in a second. So just like that, our lights look like they've got some reflection on them. Okay, now with the yellow ones, we're going to use the same brush, but we've got yellow and white on there together. And you're going to go right back into those lights and you're going to paint a second coat on the yellow. But this time when you add the white in there, it's going to make those lights stand out a little bit brighter now. So see how the difference that makes? So there's that yellow light. And you can see it a little better than these ones over here. So same idea, just yellow and a little bit of white on that brush, and then fill that light in again. And when you do that, it creates a nice, more, there, makes that light look a little brighter. Makes a big difference when you add just a little bit of white. There's that magic use of that white again, right? And just white and a little bit of white and some yellow, and you get a second coat on that light, and it just makes it stand out. And those ones you really don't need to put the little highlight on, because yellow is such a bright and luminescent color anyway. So now that we've got that happening, now we have to make a pom-pom. So for the pom-pom, I'm going to use my small square. Okay. And I'm going to take blue and white, because of course our gnome hat is blue. But if you used a different color for your gnome hat, that's okay. So I've got white and I've got blue on the same brush. And I got quite a godly amount there. That's a pretty good goop of paint on that brush. And this one we're not going to paint in a circle. We're going to paint in little dabs. Okay. So again, remember how we started this one and we started small, we worked our way out in a circular motion. You're going to do the same thing with your pom-pom. So I'm going to figure out where my pom-pom, how big I want my pom-pom. My pom-pom's maybe going to be that big. So see, it's not right up against the tip of my hat, but it's down a little ways. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do dots. So say I'm just painting in dots. And I'm going in a circular motion as I'm painting. And I'm going over my light, and I'm going over my light string. That's what I want to do. I want to go over all of that. And I'm just gonna keep picking up blue and white. And I'm just gonna keep going and going and going until I get a pom-pom. See, I'm going over the end of my hat. I'm going over a light. I'm going over a light string. And I'm just gonna keep going and going and going until I get a pom-pom the size that I like. So just picking up blue and white. Sometimes I pick up more white. Sometimes I pick up a little more blue. Now you'll notice what's happening as I'm making this pom-pom, I'm going over top of the hat too, the base of my hat, and that's okay, as we want to add interest to it with our eye. So there's my pom-pom. So it's got a little bit of blue, and it's got a little bit of white, and it's got a little bit of, it's going over top of my red, and sometimes a little bit of the red's peeking through there, and it went over my light string. But now I have a nice big fluffy pom-pom on my gnome hat. And then once you do that, all you have to do is rinse your brush. And then you guys let me know when you're ready, because now we got to paint a nose. The nose is really fun. We got to paint some nose, we got to paint some snow, and then we're just about done. This guy takes a little bit longer to do than some of my other paintings, but he's really worth it because look at this cool little cute little guy that you've got at the end. So you guys let me know when you're ready. And we're gonna paint a fun little nose on this little guy. And our nose is going to be oval shaped. It's not round, and it's not a rectangle, and it's not a square, and it's not an egg. This one's an oval. I know I did a lot of steps there, so just to recap, we put some highlights on our lights. We put a pom-pom on our gnome hat. We gussied up our Christmas ball, and now we've got to paint a nose. So if you don't have the flesh color, you can use red and white to give yourself a nice pink color, okay? And so the nose is going to push right up against the hat. And I'm going around, and I might have to go over some of that mustache that I did, and that's okay. So I'm going right down to the tip of the W, and I'm going up, and it's going to tuck right underneath my hat, and I'm going to fill that all in. Again, if you don't have this flesh color, just use white and red to make a nice little pink. So you've got a pink gnome nose. Okay, there's my nose, just like that. Now you see a little bit of the, I can see a little bit of the mustache underneath it, and that's okay because we're gonna let that dry for a couple minutes and then we're gonna go back in. Remember that magic white that we use? That makes a big difference, man. And there's our nose. Look at that. There's your gnome's nose. Nice big nose. Okay, so just make a nice little nose for your gnome. Again, we're gonna fill that in a little bit. And let that sit for a couple minutes. And you guys let me know when you're done, and now we gotta make some snow. Ooh, good stuff, guys. All right. How we doing? We got a nose happening? We got the nose around? Give me some thumbs up, or give me some high fives, or give me some dones, or whatever you got to do. Let me know when your nose is done. And then we are going to make some snow. because snow is essential. All right, so I'm going to take my small little brush again, my little small square, and I'm going to grab some white paint. And remember that same technique that we did with the pom-pom? Now we've got to do it along the bottom where our fence and our snow ground meet. And so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start dabbing. And I'm going to dab right up against my light, or my Christmas bauble. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And what that does, by just doing that quick little dabbing, that actually makes that fence line disappear and make it look soft, so it actually looks like it's sitting in snow. So I'm going to do the same thing now. I'm going all the way around that Christmas ball along the bottom, and I'm going to dab so it looks like the ball has fallen in the snow. So see, I'm just kind of going right around that Christmas ball, and I'm just dabbing just like I did with the pom-pom. So see how that just does that and just changes that and makes it look like it's now sitting in the snow. Well, now I want to add a little bit of snow on the top edge of that Christmas ball. So it looks like the snow is kind of gathered on that Christmas ball. And just like that, just by doing a few little dabs, that's what I did. And now I'm going to do the same thing down here. So you can still see some of the red. And it's just white. All I'm using is white, and I'm going to do the same thing underneath the shoe, so the shoe looks like it's sitting in snow as well. And I'm just dabbing. Just dabbing, dabbing, dabbing with white all along the bottom. And that's all I want you to do. It's right across the bottom. Just dab. And by doing this, as opposed to just painting in a straight, just painting it straight, painting that snow straight, is it gives the illusion that the snow has movement in it. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here on the other side because my fence line is there as well. So I'm just going to dab right along, and I'm going to dab right along that shoe again. Just dabbing with some white paint. And I'm just dabbing all along the bottom there. See, I'm just dabbing along with the white paint. Just bebopping along as opposed to painting in a solid line, because I want to give it the illusion. And when it dries, you'll see different shades of white in there, and that's the look that you're going for, because no snow is a pure white color. There's always different colors of white in there. So it'll be brighter in some areas and a little duller in other areas, and that's the look that you want when it dries. And that's what that dabbing technique does, is it gives it that illusion. See that? Just like that. And you can still see some of the red, so that's some of the shadow. And that's all you need to do, is just dab along the bottom. Now, we've made this little snow drifts in a few little spots. So now I want to do the same thing up top here with the lights. See how I've made this little drift of snow here on the top of the Christmas ball? Well, where do some of my lights meet? Some of my strings? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to dab some snow in there in a few of those little spots. Maybe a little bit of snow right there. You decide where you want the snow to be, right? Okay, maybe I'm going to put some snow on this light right here. And then maybe a little bit of snow right in here. Tucks a little bit of snow in that spot there. So you decide where you want some snow to live. So I've just put some snow in a few little spots. So it looks like the snow is starting to pile up. Maybe a little drop right in there too. And that's your snow. Isn't that cool? So we got a few little globs of snow kind of sitting here and there and everywhere. Now, got white on that paintbrush. What am I going to do with that white? I'm going to take some white and I'm going back in with that flesh tone color and I'm going to paint that again. So now I want that nose to have a little bit of highlight in them. See how I'm just painting, just going in the same direction, and I'm using the white now with the flesh tone to give me highlights on my nose. Just like that. And now my nose looks a little lighter, and that's the color I want it. Okay, I'm going to give that brush a little rinse. And then we need to use our liner brush. So you guys let me know when your snow and your nose are done. And then we got one little step to do. Aw, thank you, Darlene. That's really sweet of you. Merry Christmas to you too, hun. So like I said, we got our nice little highlighted nose. So you guys let me know when you're done with your nose. And then we just need to do 1 or 2 more little things. And then guess what? Jer-gnome is all done. Isn't that amazing? Look at how it's coming together. So we got our fluffy little snow happening down at the bottom. We got our little snow fluffs and little piles here and there. So now I'm going to take my little liner brush and I'm going to go in with white. And now all I have to do is now I got to go in to the mustache and I'm just adding some white around the nose. So again, same idea as the flicks that we did before, but now I'm just using the white and I'm just flicking. Now you may not see it and that's okay. You won't see it a whole lot right now, but when it dries, you'll notice that. You'll see those little highlights of your mustache kind of flicking around the nose. And it does make a big difference. It doesn't look like a lot right now, but it will. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking that white and I'm doing those little flicks again. And all I'm doing is I'm just making that mustache a little more funky. That's all. And if yours is really light and you need to make it a little bit darker, then you can use black in your mustache. It's up to you. And that's all I have to do is there. Okay. Now I'm going to take that white liner brush, and you can do it either 2 ways. You can either use the tip of the brush or the back of the brush, and you're going to make some snowflakes. Now, snowflakes are just dots. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going to put random dots kind of here, there, and everywhere. And they're going to be all different sizes. They are going to be, some are going to be bigger, some are going to be smaller, and you're just kind of go random here and there and everywhere. And I'm just making little dots. You barely touch the canvas when you do this. It's not a big, heavy smush. It's just a little tiny smush. See that? I'm just making snow. And yes, the snow has to go on the lights. The snow has to go on the hat. Because there's not an umbrella on our little gnome. Our little gnome has got snow everywhere because it's snowing. He's going to have a white Christmas. And a few more dots. And you decide how much snow you want to have on your little gnome. I'm going to put some dots in his beard. Yes, after all, we did all that work on that beard. We got to put a few little dots in there too. You can get carried away. You could go crazy with these little dots. This is a lot of fun. This is your last little step. So you just add dots, little snow, little bits of snow here and there. One on the shoe. Got a couple on my light. And now you got a snowing snow in the gnome. So our gnome has snow now. Isn't that cool? How just those little dots make all the difference in the world. All right. And that's your gnome. So the last thing that you have to do, as every good artist does, is they have to sign their paintings. So I use my initials, as I just go down in the corner. And I sign my painting. So see, there's my little signature right down there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your gnome. I hope that you had fun creating him. I can't wait to see the end results. I'm very, very excited about that. So please share them with me. And I hope that you had a lot of fun. I hope maybe that you learned a trick, a tip, something, just to enjoy and relax and try to make the best out of this holiday season. I know it's a little bit crazy and it's a little bit weird, and that's okay. But I wish you peace. I wish you a Merry Christmas. God bless. Happy Kwanzaa. The whole 9 yards. Okay, guys? So have fun. Enjoy. Please show me your results. Can't wait to see them. Take care.